Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Business News Update live on ABC News Ghana Television. I am Peggy Nyakwambano. Coming up in the headlines. President John Dramani Mahama has revealed plans to revitalize the exportation of goods through the Ghana EXIM Bank. The African Economic Outlook report by the African Development Bank has projected Ghana's economy to grow by 4.5% in 2025 with an expected increase to 4.8% in 2026. We've got these and more coming up shortly. Do stay. You're watching Business News Updates here on ABC News Ghana Television. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at ABC News Ghana Television. Now to our stories. At the 9th Ghana CEO Summit, President John Dramani Mahama unveiled an 8-pillar strategy designed to anchor his proposed economic recovery plan. One key pillar focuses on revitalizing exports through the Ghana EXIM Bank. President Mahama emphasized that the bank would be restructured and strengthened to support non-traditional exports, agro-processing, light manufacturing, and small, medium-sized enterprises. The goal is to enhance foreign exchange earnings while driving both job creation in the real economy. Recent data from the Bank of Ghana underscores the importance of exports to the national economy. According to the Central Bank's Economic Summary Report for May 2025, Ghana's export earnings surged to $9.33 billion in April, driven largely by robust performances in gold and cocoa. This export growth contributed to a trade surplus of $4.14 billion, equivalent to 4.7% of GDP. Gold remains the top export, generating $5.24 billion, up from $3.72 billion in March, buoyed by a rise in global prices to $3.218 per ounce. Cocoa followed with earnings of €1.84 billion in April, up from $1.50 billion the previous month, despite softening international prices. Oil exports also remained stable, bringing in $972 million. This export boom has significantly boosted Ghana's external financial position. The country's gross international reserves climbed to $10.67 billion, sufficient to cover 4.7 months of imports. This accumulation of reserves reflects not only strong commodity exports, but also improved fiscal discipline. However, the Bank of Ghana and other institutions caution that Ghana's economy remains exposed to fluctuations in global commodity prices and broader economic uncertainties. Joining us on phone is Samson Asaki Awingobe, the Executive Secretary for Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Good morning, Sen. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. So how is Ghana currently building on its recent export momentum, particularly in the non-traditional export sector?
Can you please ask the question again?
So I want to know how Ghana is currently building on its recent export momentum, particularly in the non-traditional export sector?
Well, thank you very much. I think that the government's headache is to see how best we can develop that sector. Since we have not been taking that sector, the opportunity has not been that high, it's been low. And I think that that is why the president, in his own wisdom, during the 2024 campaign, have decided to say they want to introduce what we call Export Associated Development Council committee to be headed by he himself as the president. And I think in May this year, that committee was constituted and inaugurated, and the chairperson is the president. His main objective is to that committee, which I am a member to that committee. I thank the president for giving reporting that conference in May and then give me that opportunity to serve in that committee with him. That committee is to see a focus and then come up with strategies to really reactivate seriously on non-export commodities to the rest of the world. In fact, to add, the cardinal point is to add more value addition to how a manner currently we are exporting our non-traditional commodity gets in the raw state to the rest of the world. So it's going to be one of the biggest things. You know, the Minister of the Minister of Trade, Industry, and Agribusinesses. The agribusiness sector is to make sure that we boost more in the non-traditional sector, and then that can bring more proceeds into the country. As part of the committee mandate is to also see to institutions, bureaucracies, okay, policies that is not favorable to export and non-traditional exporters. In terms of if you want to go through registration, you want to go through certain training, to have meet certain criteria, and to embark on export. At least we want to look into all those things and give support to those institutions that are responsible to help make export make a reality. And so, yes, it is something that you are all yearning, and I am very optimistic that more Ghanaian team youth, especially those in the universities and the polytechnics, will not just come out and say, I want to go and work in the white-collar job, but people will want to ask and say, okay, I can then 2, 3, 4 people can come together to set up their own investment, their own entrepreneurship, back on export, and then there will be more export roadshows, exhibitions, and then fora to exhibit what we have in capacity. And I think that, and to also give capacity training to enrich the knowledge and the requirement. You know, if you're exporting to the U.S. market, it's different from when you're exporting to the EU market, different from when you're exporting to the China market. There are certain specifications, there are certain qualities that you may want to see, certain packaging that you may want to see. And so institutions that are responsible, we will work in hand with them to support them so that we can accelerate export and then more proceeds will come to the country.
Yes, sir. The government suggestion includes the EXIM bank. It has been in existence for a while. How will it help in this this export promotion?
I didn't get you. If you can come,
the EXIM bank, the Ghana EXIM bank, will be included in this agenda. I want to know how it will benefit this export promotion and exporters in general.
I think that they are to support people in the agribusinesses. They are to support people in the non-traditional sector, probably giving them with some soft loans in the form of a very reduced rate, not as the high rocket rate that we are experiencing in the commercial banks, where people are borrowing at the rate of 30%. You cannot do business with that and survive. And also support the people who want to go into agro-processing, who want to set up agro-processing, who want to set up manufacturing and other things. That's where the EXIM Bank will come into play, a very critical role. All in the name of boosting our export and expanding and growing that portfolio to make sure that we put Ghana in a very good map. As you do know, that Trump 10% tariff that was slapped to countries, Ghana was part, Ghana had 10%. The reason is that what is the way forward? We need to look for emerging markets, we need to look for innovation ways, we need to attract China and the Far East, Middle East, so that we can also export. If we use not to make good use of those markets, this is the opportunity for us to also far-reaching to exhibit our product and to export more. So it's the way forward. Export is the best. Export can give confidence to your city, export can give confidence to the currency, and because proceeds will be coming back, and the Bank of Ghana will be able to. So at the end of the day, all of us will enjoy. Just as we saw the show up of the cedi as against the dollar, and today everybody is calling that prices of petroleum have reduced, prices of goods and services must also reduce, so it should reflect into our pocket.
Right. Given the recent performance of cocoa, how can the government take advantage of other cash crops and not rely solely on cocoa in this time?
Well, we have cash crops like ciabatta, we have cash crops like cashew and others. We need to. There was a time ago I saw one fruit. I've been seeing it. It's all over Ghana, but we are not. We in Ghana we are not eating it. But I'm told if you go to the U.S. market or UK market, it's like a green fruit. I don't know the name of the fruit, but it's but they're $10 and some point $15. Just one fruit, but we have it in abundance here. So what we need to do is that to do more market research, understand what are some of the cash crops that is needed out there. Then we can put people together, consortium, to consult, to support people, give people technical advice, sharpen their knowledge, skills, and then of course innovation. Then we can export. And so there are more cash crops that we can identify. In fact, if you go to the northern part of Ghana, I'm coming from the northern part of Ghana. We have some fruit called Isiriba. We have some fruit called Papara. I don't know their names in English. I'm thinking when the next time I visit North, I'm going to bring it to the FDA to advise how nutritious those fruits. There's another one called Sisiba. Apart from our channel that we all know, there are other fruits in the north there, in abundance in the bush. If the FDA should check, do research on this, and it's good. When it comes to a season like that, we can advise farmers to go into the bush and plug them, package them nicely, bring it. It's just like the Sisiba, it looks like those small things that we buy from the supermarket and we eat. I don't know how to call it. It's not apple, but there's another one. That's the one that they use for wine. What's the name? It's some small fruit. When you eat it, it's nice. In the South Africa, they use it for the wine, process of the wine. We have something like that in the northern part of Ghana. We have the other is the blackberry. I think the blackberry is there. Milo or something like that. There's watermelon, and there's another. Yes, it's also there. There are so many things that we can tap into. I don't know the names. That's why I'm pronouncing the names in my local dialect. But I think that I want to bring them to the FDA. They will be able. They are scientists. They will be able to tell us blackberry and other things that are also nutritious that we can also export them.
Right. Thank you for your time this morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
That was Samuel Asaki Awingobed, Executive Secretary for Exporters and Importers Association of Ghana. Moving on, the African Development Bank in its African Economic Outlook report released during its annual meeting in Abidjan has projected that Ghana's economy will grow by 4.5% in 2025, with an expected increase to 4.8% in 2026. The forecast is based on robust performance of the mining sector, improved fiscal discipline through consolidation efforts, and the impact of higher interest rates. The report also evaluates key economic indicators such as GDP growth, inflation, public spending, and debt levels, while noting potential risks to economic stability in Ghana and the West African region. Away from that, the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, has noted that there's an urgent need for Africa to reduce reliance on external funding for energy projects. He has also called for the swift operationalization of the Africa Energy Bank, arguing that a homegrown financing mechanism is essential to fund and de-risk large-scale energy infrastructure across the continent. Speaking at the 2025 Africa Energy Technology Conference, Jinapor criticized external financing for being tied to burdensome conditions and outdated power dynamics, advocating instead for the development of Africa's own financial system to support energy growth and retain value locally. The Africa Energy Technology Conference 2025, held under the theme Innovate, Invest, Implement, Revolutionizing Financing for Sustainable Energy Growth in Africa gathered policymakers, investors, and technology experts to discuss strategies for advancing Africa's energy transition while promoting economic sustainability. Let's end the local news with today's exchange rate. That is all for local news. Now to the international front. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says his plan to boost the economy by launching major construction projects has attracted a record 238 billion rand in investment. Speaking at an infrastructure summit in Cape Town, Ramaphosa said the government's new construction pipeline for the fiscal year starting April 1 includes around 250 projects. These cover key sectors such as energy, roads, and water. The National Treasury has set aside 1.03 trillion rand for public infrastructure over the next 3 years, aiming to attract more investment from the private sector. Years of underinvestment in poor management have created a huge infrastructure gap in South Africa, the continent's largest economy. Even wealthier communities are not shielded from the effects. President Ramaphosa has acknowledged the scale of the problem, estimating that the country needs up to 1.6 trillion rand in public investments and an additional 3.2 trillion rand from private players to meet its infrastructure targets by 2030. That is all for business news updates here on ABC News Ghana Television. My name is Peggy Nyakwabano.